Gonna pass some stuff out and then I'll move back.
Okay, cool. All right. Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming out. New semester. STC, we have our guests from National Instruments here in a second. Just want to introduce our exec board for this year so you know who to talk to if you have questions about STC. My name is Tim. I'm the president. That's Kylie there. And she's our vice president. Our treasurer is Kristen. And then our secretary is Lauren. Cool. So we're all here. Come talk to us afterwards. I'm going to turn it over to Stephanie and Allie from NI, and they're going to present a little bit. Okay.
Great. We'll get started. Before that, though, I want to just pass out a few things. This is an information, another sign-up sheet. This is just so that we can give you a heads up, stay in communication with you before we come to future semesters for recruiting. So if you're interested in just staying in sync with when we're going to come, definitely sign up. I won't spam you, I promise. Otherwise, just feel free to pass. And I also have a little, you've probably seen this around the building, but it's basically advertising our full-time position. It lists a few of the perks and stuff. We'll talk more about that, but if you're interested in applying sooner than later, I would recommend you tear one of these off. It tells you how to apply online and the rec number to use. And then we just have some kind of some informational flyers we've been going over today in our class visits. We have a few more we thought we could pass out. If you're interested, feel free to take one. I also have business cards. One more thing. Maybe I'll save this for the end, or you can just go ahead and pass these out as well. But my email is on there, and hopefully by the end of this, you'll be interested in taking one of those. So to get started, you've probably heard about National Instruments by now, but we are a company who makes software and hardware products for primarily scientists and engineers in the test and measurement industry. So you probably haven't seen our products at your typical retail stores. That's because our products kind of work behind the scenes to help other companies' products work better, function properly. Our products automate things, acquire data, generate data, measure phenomena like temperature and wind speed. So we're at the cutting edge. We have a lot of exciting things happening. And to give you a little bit of info about myself, I graduated from Texas Tech in May 2011. I actually got a degree in public relations, and I got a minor in business in Tech Com. And it was through Tech Com, my junior and senior years, I really kind of fell in love with that field and found my passion. And it was in actually one of my Tech Com classes here, my senior year. I walked in the door were two NI recruiters, and the rest is history. I went for an interview, and I got hired actually in November of my senior year. So I was sitting pretty. And that was a nice senior year to already have a job in my pocket, and that's definitely possible for any of you. Moreover on that, so I've been at NI now for about 4.5 years, right out of college. Since then, I've gotten promoted. I've gotten to do a lot of different things. There's so much opportunity there. I've been in the same group since I've been there, and I write for both hardware and software. And I work in a little bit of a larger group with other tech writers, and then a large group of developers as well. So there's a lot of fun things going on. And I'll let Allie introduce herself.
Cool. So my story is really similar. My name is Allie Hudson. I did not graduate from tech. I went to the University of North Texas in Denton. I've got a degree in English Lit and a degree in Tech Com. I was also recruited on campus from NI Reps. I graduated in 2014 and had a summer internship with NI in 2013. So interned for 3 months that summer. It's basically a 3-month-long interview process. Was offered a job and then had a job right after I got out of school. So I've been at NI for about a year now, and now I get to, share the love and yep, let's do it.
All right. Today, we wanted to kind of do something a little bit different than what we've done in the past, and we want to talk about what it's like to get paid to write, and different things you can expect, and then we'll kind of tie it back to NI and what you'll experience at NI as a tech writer. So just to begin here, what exactly is a tech writer? I don't know if I need to explain this in this room, but obviously at the end of the day, we're creating end user documentation, and the point of that is to help our customers be successful with our products, right? That's really what it comes down to at the end of the day. And to do that, there's a lot of different things you can do to accomplish that goal. At NI, we've kind of narrowed it down to like 3 main categories. The type of content we deliver and the type of content you produce as a tech writer at NI is one type would be conceptual content. This is just basically background information, details about how and why something works. Another type would be tutorial content. This is my favorite thing. It's so nerdy, but this is my favorite thing to write. I love tutorial content. This is basically helping the customer accomplish a task. So we're giving them action-oriented steps, like a how-to complete a specific task and then ultimately complete a goal with their product. And again, this might sound super complicated, but you know, NI is a high-tech company. Our technology is very complicated. It's very complex. Again, our customer base is scientists and engineers, so people who kind of are very, you know, strategic thinkers. They have the background in math, and they're, you know, they're used to working with complex things and products. And so we're writing to a very specific audience. And so because our products are so complex, it's very important that we're very detailed and we provide thorough documentation, because these products aren't easy to just use out of the box. And they're also very expensive products in some cases. So like in my group, I mentioned I write for hardware. One piece of hardware module can run $20,000 to $40,000. I try not to touch them. I just write about them. But you know, that can be scary, right? When you're spending that kind of money, and oftentimes they're buying in bulk. And so we want to make sure we're helping them be successful, because we don't want customer support calls coming in. Third type of content you'll write, what we call reference content. This is helping them understand technical details. So this kind of content would be what I like to call like quick reference material. So it's something you'll see in a table or a list, and it's easily scannable. So I'm assuming, you know, none of this is probably new to you, but this is the type of content that you'll be writing as a tech writer, and specifically in NI. So again, well, what is a tech writer? What is our job? We're supposed to understand our audience's needs. Again, our audience at NI are experts, but we also have, you know, we have a different. In some cases we have different audience. Maybe in academia, a lot of engineers use our flagship product, LabVIEW, and so sometimes we have beginners. So depending on what product group you're in, it's really important that you can grasp that concept and write to that audience, and know what their assumptions are, know what their biases are, know what their background is with the product, if any. Finally, next, you're gonna work closely with subject matter experts. This is kind of a given. A lot of times I like to say that you're almost a journalist on some days, because you almost need to interview your developers sometimes to get what you need out of them. Some of them are quiet and not so sociable, and you have to know how to pull the information out that you need to document adequately. But then you'll have other developers that are giving you way too much information, and then you have to decipher what's important. But working closely with those people, and also understanding how they best communicate, right? We all communicate in different ways, and we prefer different things. Also, we're going to organize information. This is very important, because it's up to us to know if I'm documenting a new product, and I know I know that, well, first my customers are going to have to get started with it. So maybe I'm going to produce some kind of getting started material. Is that going to be in a help file? Am I going to create like a printed document in the kit? Like, it's up to me to figure these things out, like knowing my customers, what would be most useful for them? What are they actually going to read? That's a good one. And so just thinking those things through and understanding that. Developing better ways to distribute information. This kind of goes with what I was talking about before. Do I want to produce something that's just online, something that's printed? Print is going away. This is not new. We've heard this for years, but it's continuing to go away. There's some things that may never go away in the printed sphere, but we're definitely on that trend with NI. We're putting so much more online now than we were in the box. Also, we're going to advocate for usability, making sure things make sense within the software. At NI, as a tech writer, you don't do formal usability testing. I know that's a big interest of a lot of students here. We do informal testing. It depends on the group again, but what this typically means is, like in my group, I write for help. So I have like a help file that can be online or shipped in the installer when they install the software, or I might have in-software context help. So that means if I hover over a button in the software, there's a little pop-up or an info tip. Those are things that we're responsible for writing. Does this button make sense this way? Is it labeled correctly? These are informal things I get to test as a tech writer as I'm going in and documenting the items. So that's pretty fun. Finally, in general, tech writers can often write grants or proposals. we don't write grants at NI, but we do a lot of proposals in the form of what I call like documentation plans. This is really important because as a writer, if I know I'm documenting a whole doc set for a product, I need to come up with a proposal, aka a doc plan, to propose to my developer team, the project manager, my supervisor, other tech writers who are affected, so that, I can lay out what documents I'm going to create or update. Maybe there's an existing document that needs to be revised to support the product, or what time frame, a schedule am I going to do all of these reviews with the content experts for. That's a type of proposal. So again, all of these things we do at NI except for write grants.
Some signs that you might make a good tech writer. My favorite one of these is this one, because it reminds me of those times whenever you're on Facebook and your like weird cousin uses the wrong form of your, and you're like, oh. So that one, when I was in school, I actually didn't come in as a tech comm major. I added it on at the end. And my professor presented a slide like this to me, and it had something on it that was like, you might be a tech writer if you read and edit everything from menus to like the back of a paper towel roll. And I was like, oh my God, paper towel rolls, I'm not that weird. So this is signs that make a good tech writer in general and at NI. You keep up with good technology, you are on your game with like programming knowledge, basic markup language, you proofread things, you know your grammar, you've got your skills on lock.
If you have a hard time like texting and putting everything in acronyms, then that's probably a sign. I still have a hard time with it. I try to be like cool, but yep. So who needs tech writers? I think this is really cool to talk about because obviously NI is a high tech company. I'm going to push high tech because it's really fun and you're on the cutting edge. But there are a lot of other areas that you can find work and get paid to write. Including large corporations, even small corporations here in Lubbock. I know there's other companies here that actually have internships. I think XFab, and I've heard of a couple other, but large corporations in any sector, automotive, medical, educational, military, aero defense, agricultural. I mean, the list goes on, and there's, you wouldn't always think about those things, right? Because kind of just, we're in Lubbock, Texas, we think about maybe a small niche of things, but so many different companies rely on written communication. Everybody does. And so and the communication is distributed in so many different mediums. Professional writers are in demand. So it's really up to you to decide where your interests lie. And high tech may not be the answer. We were in our class visits today, we were talking about really evaluating the employer and if it's a good fit for you. Because we want you to stay, we want you to build a career as a tech writer, as an engineer, all areas at NI, we want you to build a career and find a home. We don't want you to leave after a couple of years. So it's really important that you try to really understand, even at the college level, what you're interested in and where you can really find a home. But the good news is there's so many opportunities, even at the government level. And really linking this back to NI, all of our products span all of these industries. And so that's, when you think about it, that's really, that's a lot of job security because, you'll be placed in a product group, but, like I write in the RF group. And so a lot of our products help test like cell phone components. And you think, well, that's, just that's one little piece of the puzzle, but we have a lot of customers in aerospace defense, the military. So the list goes on and on, but it's really nice to know that maybe if one industry is doing kind of poor and we're not getting a lot of sales in that area, maybe another industry is doing a lot better and we can equal out. And that's one thing that NI has going for it that a lot of other places don't. So something to think about.
So as people that love words, obviously we want to find something that's going to pay us to write and use those words. I feel like when I was in school and I was thinking about this, I was mostly thinking, I want to get paid to write. I want to get paid to work with words. I'm going to have to be in like creative writing or fiction or journalism. And that's just really not true. You obviously know this as tech writers at an STC meeting, but there are a lot of different companies and organizations, fields that you can work in. This kind of plays off the slide that Stephanie just presented, just kind of further showing you that there are multiple ways to go.
Yeah, and another thing to consider is not every company might have the title tech writer. And I think that's something easy to forget. Maybe they're calling it something else completely, editor, tech editor, communication expert, whatever. There's so many different titles you should continue to be aware of, because ultimately you're doing the same thing. You're working with words, you're editing, you're making content usable for customers. So keep that in mind as well. Okay. So what makes a successful technical writer? We always get asked this, so I'll spend some time on this slide. But at NI, we have like a set of core aptitudes, or basically required skills, and then we'll have a set of desired skills. All this is actually listed on our job ads on ni.com/careers. So if you want to really dig into that, feel free to go look online. But basically, number one, we expect you to have excellent writing and editing skills. I don't think that's a big surprise. But one thing to think about is editing is actually the tech writer's most important skill. And I don't think I realized that. And I think this is depends on the company, and even at NI probably depends on the product group you're in. But I find myself editing a lot more than I do writing, and maybe that is conducive to your style, maybe not. Another thing to consider as you evaluate your employer. But I actually prefer that. I love editing. I love scanning content that maybe already exists and making it way better. That's really fun for me. Reformatting the content, maybe changing something that was conceptual into something that should be a task. Instead of saying in a big old paragraph how to do something, I'm going to make it action oriented and make steps and really make it a lot more usable for the consumer. That appeals to me a lot, and that's actually what I get to do a lot. I've heard different things in different groups at NI, but you must be able to edit your own documents and be able to edit other people's documents quickly and effectively. And this is why you're in school right now, to help you be able to do that and build up that skill. But we want to be able to provide our reviewers, which are our content experts, and our consumers ultimately error-free text. And that sounds really simple, but you would be surprised. I'm sure I don't have to tell you, go on, on any website, on any printed material, chances are you'll find an error. And it sounds, when you see that, it looks horrible, and then you question the credibility of that company, right? So it's a basic skill, but it's super important. Also, willingness to learn about new things and ask questions. This is really important. I know it can be hard as a new employee or as an intern. You want to be a little shy and not say something weird, but we want you to be curious. We want you to learn about a subject quickly. In fact, we expect that. There's a lot to learn at NI as a tech writer, as an intern as well, and you have to come up to speed pretty quickly. So there's no such thing as a stupid question. And at the end of the day, if something's bothering you or if it's frustrating you as a newer person, it might be frustrating our consumer. Maybe it's something we've been overlooking. We want you to ask questions, challenge us, challenge the norm, let's make sure our processes work. So we want you to ask questions, and also that helps you stay invested in your work. Beyond that, ability to stay organized and work well in groups. This is kind of a basic skill, is be able to work well in teams, but you need that skill because you're going to sit with your product groups. You're going to sit with your developers in some groups. You're going to sit with other tech writers who are going to write for different products. And so you have to be able to get along with your peers because chances are you're going to rely on them for something. You're going to need content from them. You're going to need a peer review from them. And also just be able to work together as a team. At NI, you're going to own your documentation and see it through to being posted online or being published or printed. But along the way, you're going to work with other people. And so you want to make sure you're compatible with that, with working in teams. Also, lastly, what kind of a required skill is technological background or appreciation. I'm not talking to engineers, right? I'm talking to tech writers, tech comm majors. We don't expect you coming in and knowing how to take apart a computer, put it back together. I don't expect you to know computer programming languages, but we do expect you to have an interest in high tech, an interest or a passion for learning new things, being challenged. If markup language doesn't interest you, you're probably at the wrong company. So just, we want to know that you have the interest if you're not at that level and you don't have any knowledge with even markup or programming, that you're willing to learn and you're excited about that. One thing I want to mention is back to the writing. We don't actually require you to have an English major or a tech comm major. I know I'm talking to the wrong crowd, but we do actually hire all majors as long as you have a writing background and you can show us that you have all the skills we just talked about. But there are definitely perks and benefits to already having that background as an intern and as a full-time writer. Also, Desired skills. So I kind of mentioned markup. We prefer that you have some experience with HTML, XML specifically. If you have experience with XSL, CSS, that's helpful. But we've hired people with no background in that. So again, we're going to give you the skills to be successful. We'll give you the training. You're going to have a mentor for probably up to 6 months as a full-time new writer out of college. You're going to have a mentor the whole time that you're an intern for 3 months. We're going to help you be successful. Even if you say, okay, I'm at 6 months and I don't know what I'm doing, this is really challenging, we're not going to leave you in the dark. We're going to help you be successful because we want you to be happy and we want you to make a career at NI. Exposure to programming concepts, I kind of already mentioned that. Experience, again, you don't have to have that, but if you come in with that, it's helpful. Experience with editing and publishing tools. We don't expect you to know we use at NI. We use a variety of different programs and software, and it depends on the group you're in as well. One thing we've invested in for the past few years has been adopting DITA XML, using a CMS to start single sourcing all of our content. This basically means I'm going to write a piece of content or update that content, and it's going to be reused in multiple other areas, but I only have to update it once and it is updated everywhere. That sounds awesome. As a writer, we should all be like jumping up and down because that means we're saving time and effort. We don't have to copy and paste. That's really cool. And we're using that to the extreme, I feel like, in NI. And it's really exciting and it's fun. It's fun to learn that technology and be able to use it. Any questions while we're on this slide? We'll do questions later, but.
What was the program you just mentioned?
Yeah, just that if you have an interest in it, we don't expect, the program?
Yeah,
we use
single sourcing thing.
Yeah, so it's called DITA,
DITA.
Darwin Information Typing Architecture.
Oh.
It's a type of XML framework, and basically it's just using XML. And we use XMetal for the XMetal editor, and then we have a content management system that all the content is sourced. It's like a repository of content, and you can check it out, make edits, check it back in. You can version it a lot of times. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. You can customize it. It's really cool. You can have different outputs. Let's say I have, a couple paragraphs of text, or maybe that action-oriented list of tasks I need to help my customer complete a goal. And I want that in my online help file, but I also want to put it in my getting started guide. That's a printed PDF. I can have that in both places, and it can output from one publication. It's really cool. That's single sourcing. So yeah, you'll get to do that, and join us. Any other questions?
You're about
Okay, cool.
not a question.
Not a question.
We'll
All
speed
right,
up.
so what are companies generally looking for in a tech writer? Obviously, exceptional writing skills. What I like to highlight here is that your entire application highlights your exceptional writing skills, even your cover letter. So your cover letter is crafted in a way that shows that you're a good tech writer, and it doesn't have any typos. Technical aptitude and interest. What about technology excites you? This is super important because the things that you're going to be learning to document are complicated. So it's important that you're excited about learning about them. You have some sort of interest in hardware or software, how it works, you want to put your hands on it, you want to do all the things. It's really helpful to be excited about it. Familiarity with popular TechCom communication concepts. We kind of talked about that in the last slide. Coding and the
Single
different
sourcing.
coding, single sourcing, markup language, the different programs that you use to work with that, and then knowledge about the company. So maybe in your interview, if someone said, "Why do you want to work at NI?" you would have an answer for them.
We're not hinting or anything at all right there. So what should I look at for in a tech writing job? We talked a lot about these things in our class visits earlier, but you should be wondering about the work environment. Also involved in that is, how is the company doing financially? I never thought to ask that as a college student. That never even passed through my mind. But coming to work at NI, we have quarterly business discussions. So 4 times a year, we're going to get in a room with not high as sometimes VPs, but like senior level managers, and they're going to come in and they're going to tell us straight up what our sales were in our specific group, and they're going to say, "Hey, we didn't do so good here, guys. We did really good this time, guys." And that's amazing. A lot of businesses hide that, and NI is makes that very visible to the employees, and that's kind of rare. And you'd think, well, how is that helping? Well, it gives us motivation to do better and to keep doing well, you know. What is an average work day like? That's extremely important. You want to know how long am I going to work every day? How many hours am I going to work a week? Specifically to answer that second question though, austin.weekendlife.net, that website is on those flyers. I really encourage you to go there. It's going to talk a lot about, it's all about tech writing at NI. NI.com is the NI website, but if you want to know about tech writing, I would go there. I would go to both. But you can find out what a day in the life of a tech writer at NI is like. I encourage you to do that. At NI, we as tech writers, we're expected to work about 40 to 45 hours a week. I can't remember the last time I've worked over 45 hours. Well, it's usually when I come here, frankly. So yeah, there's a lot of work-life balance at NI. They really value your personal life, and that's great. I mean, that's wonderful to be able to know that I'm not going to, you know, work so many hours in 1 week that I get blown out and I don't have any motivation to do well. Like that, it's really important. Career paths. At NI, we have a larger tech comm department, so we've made it a priority to identify what your career path is going to look like. You'll start in as an entry-level tech writer, you'll go to staff, you'll go to senior, and then principal. We only have like 2 principal tech writers at NI, so it's a really, it's a newer position, highly coveted, but it's also pretty rare to get. You have to be there a while, but they make it very easy and very doable to go up the chain pretty quickly, and they give you actionable things that you can hit, milestones to achieve to go to the next level, and they're not vague about it. They'll tell you exactly what things they're looking for, which is great. You know, there's nothing worse than like wondering, what do I need to do to get promoted? But you'll know what to do when you walk in the door. Also, job responsibilities, what types of content will I deliver? We kind of touched on that. What other responsibilities will I have as a tech writer? Good question, kind of why we're standing here. There's other extracurriculars you can get involved in. There's cross-group collaboration opportunities. Recruiting is one of them. We volunteer to do this. It's not our full-time job. We still have normal work to do, but we love sharing the knowledge, as she said, and kind of getting other people excited about working at NI and being a tech writer. So we kind of volunteer to do this, and then our workload balances out as our supervisors see us kind of get involved in the company. Salary and benefits, NI has great medical plans. We have a lot of great benefits. This presentation doesn't go into detail about those things, but I feel like we've hit on those in the past. If you have any specific questions, you're welcome to ask. NI.com actually, I think, lists our benefits in general if you want to look at that. But benefits in general aren't just about medical, dental. They cover on-site fitness center, you know, the fact that we have employee appreciation weeks and we have deck parties and you can bring beer and drink at your desk, and not too excessively, but you know, there's just so many other incentives that you may not consider a benefit because it's not financial, but it really is a benefit. Flex time, no dress code, things like that. It's a lot of fun, and there's so many good things going on. She mentioned earlier in the day, volunteering in the community during work hours. You're getting paid to like literally just volunteer with your team. Blood drives, list goes on.
Endless possibilities. All right, so this slide kind of harps on what I was talking about just a little bit more, that your resume is part of your writing samples. So it needs to be clean, it needs to get your point across, and it's a really good way to show that you're a good tech writer. Yeah. I'm sure that your professors talk about this. The biggest thing that I want to say is show, don't tell. Like your teachers tell you that, I hope. Don't tell me you know HTML, show me how you use it. Yeah. I built this website. I did XYZ with this code instead of like, I have basic knowledge of this code. Yeah. Does that make sense? Yes.
Yeah. So we're going to wrap up, but yeah, so our main 2 reasons we're here is because we have 2 positions. We're hiring, guys. We're hiring. I can't emphasize that enough. We have many positions open for full-time writers, many. We have 5 tech writer internship positions open for the summer, and we're looking to expand on that. For the past 3 years, we've had a Texas Tech intern. So if you do the odd, you have a pretty good shot at getting it. You have to apply, and you have to show us that you're qualified and you're interested and you're going to do well and you want it. I want to have more Red Raider interns out of the 5. I want to beat the other schools. So, yeah. I want to emphasize that to complete the application, you can't just email me. You need to go to ni.com/careers. And the rec numbers are on here. You can jot those down. If you don't know, email me. I can send them to you. Or just if you search on ni.com/careers, you'll see it. The application consists of submitting a resume, a cover letter. It'll ask you some basic like HR type questions. And then you're going to need to submit 2 to 3 writing samples. It's not going to prompt you to submit those, but we're asking you to submit those. A lot of times I don't see people do that, and it's a red flag when you're applying for a tech writing job. Even from Texas Tech, I see that. So I just want to emphasize that. One of the samples should be a technical writing sample. What does that mean? That means we're looking for a how-to instructional based, task-oriented, like a how-to type document. Talk to one of us if you have any questions. Tim can always put you in contact with me. I have passed out business cards, but we're doing interviews tomorrow. It's not too late to apply. I know that's like super rushed though. If you do want to apply tonight, if you could do it before 8 p.m., that'd be great. I can't guarantee you an interview tomorrow if it's after that. We are going to be back in the spring. We come every semester. We hire year round for full-time internship. It's only for the summer, but we will be interviewing for that position in March as well. The internship selection process is at the end of March. We will be here early to mid-March to interview a final time for the summer 2016. So it's not too late. You can wait till the spring. It doesn't hurt your chances at all. We'll get into questions, but I do want to also note that last summer on my team, I mentored Kate DeBusk. She was our intern in my group. She now has a full-time offer and is going to start in the fall. So I'm not just talking, it really actually happens. So and she's a good person to ask how it really is like, and I think she'll say good things, but she has to because I was her supervisor. but yeah, so, and if you want to say something, you can, but
I just had a really positive experience. I mean, I felt like, sometimes when you go into an internship, I think you're worried that the tasks you're given aren't going to really resonate. They're not actually going to be applicable to what you want to do, but the tasks I was given were very real. I felt like I was, just as valuable as a full-time writer. I was doing real projects, but at the same time, I didn't feel so overloaded with information that I couldn't understand because they did give me the right training. So I think it's a really good balance there. And to me, that was the most impressive thing.
And on that note, we've said the internship is like a 3-month interview. That's because if you prove yourself and you do well, by the end of the internship, you'll have an offer in your hand. Like, we don't interview you again. Like, that is your interview. Like, we've interviewed you to get the internship, and then you're there 3 months. And if we like what we see, you'll have an offer. So it's really awesome. And I didn't talk about the benefits for the internship, but I can. Is there interest in that? Okay. Basically, you have a whole bunch of wins. You're going to get paid hourly. You're only going to be expected to work 40 hours a week. That's not too bad. You're going to live in Austin, Texas. We're going to give you corporate housing that has everything down to the utensils. You just bring yourself and your clothes. If you don't want the corporate housing, which is, by the way, it's usually walkable to NI, maybe not. I think you had to drive, but
A little bit.
it's like right across the street, the corporate
it's
housing,
around.
in that really nice apartments. And if you don't want that, if you have family or whatever, we'll give you a housing stipend instead. So more money. You can also get course credit and still get all the money. What else? Someone asked me if they could bring their cat once to the corporate housing, and I forget. I think the answer was no. Sorry, no pets.
I'll watch your pet.
It's a lot. It's just win-win-win. You get real projects. Again, Austin, Texas, and there's a lot of good, fun intern activities. Am I leaving anything out? Yeah.
Conferences
Yeah.
and things that we do.
We have events. We have an intern coordinator who sets up events they even get to talk to like past interns so they can not be so scared, their first week. It's a really good opportunity, and the full-time position's obviously good too.
You have to do an internship to do the full time?
Oh, no, there are 2 different positions. If you're the requirements for the internship, by the way, is you have to be a currently enrolled student in good standing. So you can be an undergrad student or a master's student, either one. If you're in that weird position where you've just graduated and you're not sure if you're going to grad school, you can still intern, but you have to show us proof that you've been accepted and plan to go to grad school. Otherwise, you'll have to just apply for full time. Does that make sense? I get questions on that. Okay.
So
So
it's
there,
not a rite of passage,
Nope.
like internship. too.
nope, you can full-time. In fact, we have several positions open for full-time. So I would encourage you, if you're ready to work, I would encourage you to apply for full-time. But the internship's great too if you're still in school, so. Any other questions? I mean, we have, she's only been at NI a year. She's used to, she knows what it's like sitting in your seats, and if there's any questions for her. Yeah.
I asked you this a while ago, Stephanie, so Allie, I'll ask you this time.
Is it a
What's
trick
your-
question?
No, it's not a trick
Okay.
question. What's your favorite project that you've been involved with?
My favorite project that I've been involved with so far is called Data Dashboard for LabVIEW. So LabVIEW is our big software product at NI. Data Dashboard is an app that works on Android and iOS. So I was doing documentation for an app for LabVIEW, which was really stinking cool.
Yeah.
That was kind of a one-off project for me. I'm not usually on the mobile team. Usually I work in automated test software, which is also really cool, but I really liked getting the opportunity to kind of jump around and work with the mobile team.
Yeah, we have more academic-based products. We have, you might have heard Lego for Mindstorm. So we have Lego Mindstorms. We have more K through 12 based products. So we have a lot of different areas. And one thing when we interview you, we'll ask you what's your interest. Do you kind of prefer software or hardware? A lot of people don't know. That's totally fine. But we try to fit you with the product group that we think you'll be happy in, because there's different, every group's different, but yeah, we definitely want you to be happy and succeed. And so we try to fit you based on personality and what you've told us you're interested in, things like that. And then when you intern, you don't necessarily get stuck in that same group for full time. It just depends on the needs and things like that. Kate's stuck in our group, but I think that's a good thing.
I interned in hardware and then moved to software. So that's a thing.
Yeah, that's another thing that, you can move from one to another
Yeah.
based on your product. I mean,
Right.
they're really good about making sure that you're interested in the product that you're working in. So if you're working for a long time and then they get an opening in
Yeah.
another group.
Exactly.
I thought that was really cool.
Yeah. Or if you want to try, I don't know if I mentioned, you can go the management route. If you don't want to go the senior tech writer route, you can manage other tech writers and dabble in that. If you don't like that, go back. They're really flexible with what you can do. So sometimes it's hard to know if you want to manage. So.
Is NI just located in Austin?
Good question. I always get asked that, and I always forget to bring it up. For our tech writing positions, yes, but we have branches all over the world, actually, all over the world. I'm working with developers in India right now, and I have developers in Germany I was working with last week. Depends on your product, but tech, we're only hiring for these positions in Austin. We do have tech writers in India and Bangalore, India, and then China. But they recruit, and it's a totally different process. So yeah, just in Austin.
So you guys mostly recruit within Texas then?
Yes, we do. Yeah, we hit up all the big schools. So you're competing against students from UT, A&M, Baylor, UNT, sorry. We at the one state, we actually go to Iowa State, believe it or not, Iowa State. Because we have, they have a good tech comm program, and we've hired a couple people from there, and so they've given us enough encouragement, and that we'll fly them out and recruit. So, and if you're interested in recruiting, you can get involved in travel, but this is the only travel I do. You don't have to travel otherwise.
About those other things you can volunteer for when working at NI?
Yes, so recruiting is one that tends to be popular, but we have a ton of different stuff. We have our own NI style guide, so we have a style guide committee. You can volunteer to be on that group and kind of be a part of the decision-making team to add things to the style guide or change things. We revise it once a year, and some things need to be updated, just like, I think you all follow mostly like the Chicago style, or I know there's a million different styles, but they get updated consistently. Same thing at NI. We have a bunch of different products or groups. We have like a group that is involved with our DITA CMS and onboarding writers to that new system. It's kind of a new tool chain. And so we have a team that helps with that. Oh, we have our annual NITC, NITechCom conference every year. We have like a steering committee to organize that. It's just more of like a event production team, I can think of it. I'm sure I'm forgetting a bunch, but.
As far as like extracurriculars
Yeah.
go, I'm the social dictator for Tech
Yeah.
on the NI, so I know it sounds pretty cool. So I organize like birthday
Happy
events, happy hours, volunteer events. I do like a Thanksgiving potluck. We're about to do a Halloween cube decorating contest. There's like a white elephant at Christmas time, stuff like that. So I organize those, and then there's an extracurricular called NI Grad, which I thought was really cool after I graduated. That's made up of all the new grads across the company, so tech writers and also engineers and people in marketing who are all kind of around the same age, but moving to Austin, not really knowing anyone. They set up a lot of events that are like just where you can like hang out, socialize, meet people.
We have another thing, a cross-group mentoring group, where because we have so many different product groups and then different tech writers in those groups, where it's a way to kind of meet other tech writers, because if they don't work in your group, you may not work with them a lot. So to meet other writers and get mentored, I mentored a newer writer in a completely different group. I hadn't even met her yet. So getting involved in things like that is what helps your career growth, obviously, and showing that you're invested, not just in your product line and documentation, but in the company and in the tech home department. That helps.
This is a benefits question. How does NI like encourage and support like further schooling?
Yes, good question. We have a tuition reimbursement program. So if that's something that you're interested in or it compels you, we will actually, I believe you have to get all A's, and we will reimburse you anything below that. Might be on your own. Or I think it's a scale.
It's scaled.
Okay.
It's scaled. Sorry, I'm sorry. Yes,
So like A
she probably
plus.
knows more about it.
or-
Yeah.
Something, it's scaled.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
sorry.
scaled.
Okay.
I don't know the numbers off the top of my
Yeah,
head, but I
but
do know it's scaled.
yes, they
I
do
think you
help
have to make above a C in your class.
Okay.
for to get some reimbursement.
Yeah.
Also, they're flexible if you're gonna go to some campus, or maybe you do it online, your supervisor can work out a schedule with you, and they'll be flexible with what you need to do for classes.
Very cool.
That's okay. No problem.
That's my other.
Anything else?
So on a daily basis, are you guys usually just working with other tech writers? Are you ever working with engineers or other positions?
Good question. It changes every single day. I would say that not every day I'm working with another tech writer. It depends on, I guess, how I'm more of a senior person in my group, and I'm more self-sufficient at this point, and I think that just happens naturally over time. If you're a newer person, you're going to be working pretty closely with another tech writer. But even, just after a couple years, it just depends. When I say work with another tech writer, it's not necessarily on a document. It's, hey, I think you updated this text in another document. Can you tell me where that was? Or, maybe just asking questions about something. And you're not ever really tag teaming the document. Or maybe there's a product line, and so a doc set of different things. And maybe one tech writer is covering one of those docs, and I'm covering another. That's kind of what Kate and I did over the summer. So we're not working on the same document, but maybe we share some material, so we need to communicate.
Right, so your collaboration is more asynchronous. It's not
Yes.
usually
Yeah.
happening.
Right.
Okay.
But also, and working with developers is pretty a consistent thing. It's not every day. It depends on if you're working on an active product release. Maybe like right now I'm finishing a release, and I'm going to be working on just revving existing documents. So it's not really a release. It's just updating docs that exist. So I'll be communicating with developers when I need their input. So it may not be daily, but consistently.
Product I'm working on right now is like in the middle of a release, and it's a fairly new product, so I talk to my developers every day.
Yeah.
It just depends on what you're working.
You also, when you're on an active release, you'll have like, sometimes we call them daily stand-ups, or where you have like short 15-minute meetings, and you in a group with your developers, and you all talk about what you're working on, what you've done yesterday, what you plan on doing tomorrow. That sounds super annoying, but it actually is really effective to kind of know if there's any bottlenecks, anything standing on your way. Oh, he's working on this, that affects me, so we'll sync up. It's actually really helpful.
We have time for one more question.
Okay.
Is the internship only offered in the summer?
Yeah, it's just a summer internship. We don't do any like semester in internships. So I think it starts mid to end May and then early August. So 3 months or 12 weeks. And I don't know the specific dates for the summer, but I can get those if you want to know. You can email me and I can let you know what those are. I just don't know them off the top of my head. And if you have a conflict with that, we can work with your schedule. Like, yeah. Sorry.
Very good. Can we get them in? Oh, okay.
Let's talk about the full-time position quite a bit.
Yes.
Like, that's really interesting too, but I'm too, like, I still got to school.
Yeah.
I want to apply for that.
Right.
So how competitive do you feel like?
It's competitive, but if you're asking what's better, if you should wait, is that what you're asking, to graduate or just get in it that way? Yeah. I've thought about this a lot, and I don't know if there's here's what I'd recommend. Even if you don't get the internship, because it is competitive, but we have 5 slots and we're growing that. That doesn't mean you can't apply for full-time and not get full-time. Like, we will take each application on its own and look at it separately. Just because we've turned you down for that does not mean we're going to turn you down. Because a lot of times we've had to turn down people that we would have said yes to, but we only have 5 slots. Does that make sense? And you have to prioritize. So maybe you are a yes. At the end of the day, I can bring you and present you as a yes person, but I'm not a hiring manager. The hiring managers pick per group who they would like for their group. So maybe we have 7 yeses, but we only have 5 slots. The hiring managers are going to pick who they think is the best fit.
Is it possible to apply while you're still in school?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yep. You can apply anytime. I mean, when you graduate?
Spring of next year.
Yeah, you can apply anytime. That might be a little early because that's 2017 or 16. Oh, okay. No, yeah, you can apply anytime. Like I said, I graduated in May 2011, but I got my offer in November 2010. I interviewed, applied pretty early, but we'll give you an offer and we'll just wait for you to graduate. And then you'll have to show us your final transcript. But you can't just slack off at the time. But yeah, no, definitely. If you're interested, apply now. We can interview you tomorrow or in the spring. And that's not a problem. And if you're ever sure about timing, feel free to email me because I understand that you can be unsure. So. All right.
Thank you. A few quick chapter business things and we'll pull up.
Can you just hand down that sign-up sheet? Sorry. Thank you. And feel free to take the leftovers. And thank you, guys. Mhm. What's up? Totes. Let's do it.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
Yeah. Where? I think they're all just going to crack.
They say it was cool to get the,
I'm sorry?
they say it was cool to get
Oh, yeah, go. Who's going to waste one?
Yeah.
You're so far away. Okay. Everyone's like so far away. Okay, can we get like a teeny bit closer? Everyone's kind of like.
That's everybody on that.
Yeah, okay, everyone smile. 1, 2. I'll get one more. Yes, you're smiling. 1, 2.
Yeah. So we have 2 quick little chapter business things and we're good. Yeah, chapter.
Protocol. Got that sign up sheet. Yeah.
Yeah. It'll look like this. Yeah.
It's a pizza.
Okay, hold on, everybody. Let's get the next one. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thanks.
They're just
More
from-
questions.
okay.
Yeah, go for it, go for it. So,
Okay.
things about STC, if you'd like to go to our next meeting, it'll be in mid-October, hopefully on Wednesday. Kyle's gonna tell you a little bit about applying to be a member of the organization.
Yeah, is anybody in here actually a paying member of STC currently? A couple of us?
You can still come.
Absolutely, I can still come to the meetings. But in order to have these networking opportunities like we had now, or to access online databases of jobs and other educational opportunities, you do have to pay to be part of this organization because it is considered a professional organization. Starting in September, they did open up for the next season, the next annual year of payment. But if you wait until October 1st, I do believe you can pay this reduced student rate for the next 15 months, and that's all going to be included in the 1-year payment. So the student rate as it is right now is $75. But if you were to pay in September and take yourself to January and then pay it again, you'd be paying an additional $50. So if this is an organization that you are really considering being a part of and paying to be a part of it professionally, I'd wait until October and dish out $75 for the next year and a few months.
14 months or so, yeah. That's I'm still doing. Okay, 2 other quick things. One is we're trying to do a t-shirt design contest. So if you have some designs or some ideas to like win the prize, which is a free t-shirt, we'd like you to be a member. So if you are considering like submitting a design, maybe join the organization and do that. The other thing is we're going to do attendance prizes at the next few meetings for just kind of a random drawing, and we're only going to offer the attendance prize to people who are members. So if you, that's one of those like define a paying member, like you
Paying
are now, David.
membership fee.
Yeah, pay the membership fee
That's
to
fair
kind of be
enough.
an incentive. If it's only Kylie and David and I, we'll bring the incentive, but hopefully it'll be more of you guys will join it. And then lastly, we're trying to do, and this you don't have to be a member for, we're trying to start like a committee where we actually do documentation work for the school. So there was a student org that I thought we would be working with. It turns out they're not a student org anymore. So yeah, lovely. So we're interested, if you're interested, I have a sign up here. If you're interested in serving on the documentation committee, that's what I'm calling it. You'll meet about 5 times throughout the course of the semester. The first meeting will be you guys kind of figuring out what it is you want to help, what organization might need it. Then you meet like 4 or 5 times throughout the semester, work on it, give them the results, put it on your resume. It looks nice, especially since we're looking for someone to lead that. So if you're interested in leading it, I'll definitely participate, but I don't feel comfortable leading it. So if you're interested, please sign up.
Do you want to be a paying member to that?
You do not have to be a paying member to sign up to be on the documentation committee. And lastly, if you haven't signed up here with your name and email and you're interested in knowing more about our stuff, please do. All right, that's it. Thank you, guys. Thank you for coming. Grab some pizza on the way out, please.
Thank you, Tim.
Oh, I know, it's not interesting. What program are you in here?
I'm
You didn't appreciate what? In TCR? Techno? Oh, you're good. No.
I was trying to get your head into conference.
Oh.
I think I was successful.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
I've seen it.
Do you just want me to take your place?
Nerdy tech conference.
Yeah, I'm getting mine at Techcom right now.
Right.
Oh, real quick, October, we're gonna have,
I just started.
October's gonna be usertesting.com. They're gonna Skype in and talk to us about some of their stuff. So they should
Thank you.
No, user testing's awesome. I am taking a class with Rick right now, over Intro Tech class. I'm taking composition with Rich Bryce, and then I'm taking disability studies and web accessibility with Situation and here. Yeah, the class one is awesome. What's your first name? So we talked about Paul. We were just a little late.
Paul Watson. I'm trying to visually present my name here well, but the latest is Paul Watson. Paul Watson, the same name.
Well, visual representation, Aubrey Banning.
A-U-B. I know, I'm good. B. That's good. Please, feel free. Try to get some pizzas. If you want to throw things at Ian, feel free to do it.
Who are you?
Hey, Tim.
I'm okay with
Can we stop this?
What's up?
Can we stop the broadcast?
Are we
Oh, sure.
broadcasting?
Good idea.
Oh, sorry, I'm on right in the middle.
You're live on TV. Thank you.
All right.